She married me for stability. She cheated for power, not passion, not love. She wanted to upgrade, and she thought no one would notice. But the higher she climbed on the lie she built, the quieter I got, because I wasn't planning to scream. I was planning to wait. And when she got high enough, I made sure there was no net when she fell. There's a difference between a lie and a performance. She was a performer, always had been. Smiles at charity events, polished laughter at brunches, coordinated social media posts with captions like, "Married my best friend." Her friends adored her. My mother thought she was perfect. Even our dog wagged harder when she walked in the room. And I watched it all like a man watching a house built on soft soil. Because perfect people aren't real. They're hiding something. I just didn't know how much until I found the second phone, tucked in a locked drawer inside her vanity. Disguised in a makeup case she hadn't used in years. No passcode, just fingerprints. Her texts weren't romantic. They were tactical. He's starting to ask questions. Play it cool. 2 more months, get the promotion, secure the board vote, then we talk separation. They weren't even to the man she was sleeping with. They were to a woman, her boss. I read everything. And when I got to the last message, one I hadn't seen yet, one sent just hours before, I laughed. He still thinks I love him. No, I didn't. Not anymore. But now I had a new reason to stay. Because if she thought I was going to let her use me to climb, she hadn't looked down in a while, and I was about to saw through every rung of the ladder. That night, we had dinner with her boss, not the one from the texts, the public one. The one who shook my hand with practiced warmth and complimented the wine I didn't pick. She wore red. She always wore red when she wanted to look powerful. We sat at the rooftop bar she claimed was cozy. It wasn't. It was expensive, cold. A place for people who like the idea of elegance, but not the weight of honesty. She laughed 3 times before appetizers, once at his joke, once at mine, once at nothing. I watched her eyes. They didn't crinkle like they used to. She was performing, every toast, every compliment, every glance at me like I was still the man she came home to. But I wasn't. I was already somewhere else. Back in the bathroom that morning, reading a plan she thought I'd never see. I knew who she was. And now, I knew who helped her become it. She wanted a seat on the board. She wanted leverage. She wanted to present the image of the loyal wife while they orchestrated her exit strategy from behind company doors. And I wanted dessert, because revenge is sweeter when they don't know it's coming. She touched my arm at the end of the meal. "Thank you for being here," she said. I smiled. I wouldn't miss it, because this was their game. But I knew the rules now. And dinner with liars, that's just the appetizer. The real course comes when you flip the table. The thing about manipulators, they never think you'll learn to play their game. But I did, and I played it better. The next morning, I took the day off work. She thought I was running errands. I let her think that. What I was really doing was talking to my lawyer, not about divorce, not yet. About leverage, because I wasn't going to walk away with half. I was going to walk away with everything she built on my back. I had the texts, the burner phone. I made copies, printed, scanned, archived on drives she didn't know existed. I hired a private investigator, told him to follow the woman she was texting, the boss, the one who promised her the board seat once I was out of the way. He delivered in 48 hours. Photos, meetings, 1 hotel room, 2 names not listed on the company travel sheet. Turns out their little promotion strategy was more than corporate, which meant HR would care. And the board, they'd care even more. She didn't just betray me. She violated every clause in her employment contract about internal relationships, transparency, and conflict of interest. I wasn't just the husband. I was the weak link they thought wouldn't bite. So I sharpened my teeth. I started building a file, timeline, evidence, cross-referenced calendar logs from our shared account. She never deleted anything. She just buried it. But I knew where to dig, because every empire built on deception has one flaw. They forget about the people they step on. And when they look back down, sometimes the floor isn't there anymore, just the drop. It was subtle at first, a shift in her tone when I brought up her boss's name, a pause before she smiled when I asked how work was going, the way she double-checked her phone before unlocking it as if something might jump out. She was starting to feel it. The static in the air when truth is closing in. She asked if I'd moved the files on her laptop. I hadn't. She asked if I'd been in her email. I hadn't. But she was nervous anyway. Guilt isn't logical. It's viral. It spreads into every action until even normal things feel suspicious. She started asking me more questions at dinner. What time did you get home? Who'd you talk to today? Did you see anyone? I answered every one, calmly, because I wanted her to feel crazy, to question every calm word like it had weight behind it. I moved the burner phone, not far, just from her vanity drawer to the bathroom cabinet. She found it. I know she did, because that night she didn't sleep. She lay awake staring at the ceiling while I pretended to dream beside her. The next morning she made eggs, her specialty, the kind she only cooked on anniversaries or after fights. We weren't fighting, but she was apologizing anyway. Not out loud, not yet, but you can taste guilt in over-seasoned yolks. I ate in silence, smiled, told her I loved her. She smiled back. But this time, the mirror behind her showed something new. A crack. Tiny. Hairline. The kind you only see if you know where to look. And I did, because I put it there. Some people think revenge is a fire. Fast, loud, final. But fire can be managed, guided, even contained. A controlled burn doesn't just destroy, it clears the dead roots, so nothing rotten grows back. And that's what I needed. So I set a spark. I left the burner phone out again, not hidden, just placed on her pillow. Screen black, silent. When she found it, she didn't say a word. She left for work without touching her coffee. That afternoon, she texted me, "We need to talk." But I already knew everything. I just needed her to say it. That evening, I made dinner. Lamb. Her favorite, the one I only cooked twice a year. She didn't eat. She watched me the whole time like she was trying to read something on my face she couldn't name. Finally, she said it. "I think I've made mistakes." I poured wine. Most people have. She blinked. Her voice cracked. "Have you been watching me?" "No," I said. "I've been listening." "To what?" "To who you really are." She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She just lowered her eyes, like someone watching a house collapse they helped decorate. I leaned forward. "Whatever you think I know, I probably do." She nodded, tried to speak. I stopped her with one finger raised. "But I haven't told anyone yet." Her breath caught. "Yet?" I nodded. "This is your moment. Right here. You can choose the truth or the collapse." She looked so small then, like the power suit she wore was just paper wrapped around shame. "I never meant to hurt you," she whispered. "No," I said. "You meant to use me." And now? Now I was using her silence to light the match. Because this burn wasn't accidental. It was strategy. And I wasn't done clearing the field. She didn't know I'd been to the building. Didn't know I'd walked those glass halls with a folder tucked beneath my coat. Didn't know her carefully edited career had a back door, one I stepped through while she was at lunch. The HR director met me in a conference room. Quiet, professional, tired. I told him I had documentation. He didn't ask how I got it. When I handed him the folder, he didn't blink. Just opened it, page by page. Texts, travel overlaps, receipts, company violations in black and white. "I'm not looking for drama," I told him. "I'm looking for accountability." He nodded, and when I walked out, I didn't look back, because that building didn't belong to her anymore. She just didn't know it yet. That night she was distracted, checked her phone too often, replied too fast, smiled too hard. I didn't ask why. She told me anyway. "There's an emergency board meeting tomorrow. I think someone's targeting us." Us. That word stuck in her throat. I smiled. "Any idea who?" She shook her head, eyes wide, fake innocent. I kissed her cheek. "Just be honest," I said. She nodded, but honesty isn't in her nature. And the board? They've seen ghosts before. But none wearing a red dress and a promotion made of lies. Tomorrow she walks in confident, and she walks out smaller. Because the ladder she climbed, it just snapped in her hands. She came home early. No text, no warning, just the sound of her heels, fast, sharp across the kitchen tile. She didn't take off her coat, didn't drop her bag. She stood in the doorway, pale and shaking. They asked me to resign. I didn't look up, just stirred my coffee. They had everything, everything I never said aloud, everything I thought I deleted. I looked at her. Calm, steady. "Strange," I said. "Maybe it's karma." She sat down, hard, hands trembling. "They're investigating her too. I know. They think she coached me into it, said it was a manipulation scheme. I sipped. They're not wrong. She stared at me. You knew. Yes. For how long? Long enough to know this version of you wasn't built to last. She cried then. Not loud, just quiet streaks down the sides of a face that once only knew how to pose. I waited. Let her finish. She whispered, Are you going to leave me? No. Her eyes lit up until I added, You're going to leave yourself. She didn't understand. Not yet. But she would. Because what I was taking from her wasn't the marriage. It was the version of her that used love like currency and me like a tool. That version was bankrupt. And tomorrow, she'd wake up without power. No title, no ladder, just her. And whatever she saw in the mirror, if she could look at all. Leaving isn't always about walking out the door. Sometimes it's about walking away from the role they cast you in. The silent partner. The foundation. The name on the lease, but not in the power plays. That's who she married. The man she thought would never make noise. She was wrong. I started small, canceled the joint accounts, moved my direct deposit to a private credit union, transferred the deed on the lake house to a trust she couldn't touch. All legal, all quiet, all timed. She was too busy damage controlling her career to notice. I met with a mediator, not a lawyer, told them this wasn't war. It was evacuation. No custody battles, no dragged out hearings, just lines drawn, assets divided, freedom negotiated. She tried to smile when I brought her the papers, said, So that's it? I nodded. That's all that's left. She didn't cry, not this time, but her hands shook when she signed, because she realized something. This wasn't revenge, it was release. I wasn't punishing her, I was done carrying her, and when I left that house, the one I helped build, the one she poisoned with ambition and betrayal, I didn't take souvenirs, just my name and my silence, the one she once mistook for weakness. Now she knew better, because I didn't raise my voice, I just wrote the ending, and walked away before the final page turned to ash. The house sounded different once I left, she told me that. In a voicemail I didn't return, she said the air was thinner, said she couldn't sleep, said everything creaked louder now, but it wasn't the house, it was the echoes of who she pretended to be, and who I stopped pretending to love. She sent one more message, typed this time. I keep thinking about that first year before it all changed. It didn't change, she did, or maybe I just finally saw her clearly. I deleted the message, not out of anger, out of clarity, because closure isn't a conversation, it's a boundary, and I had drawn mine. I rebuilt quietly, moved into a smaller place, no echoes, no wine glasses hanging over a granite counter we picked out together, no photos of a wedding that meant more to me than it ever did to her. I didn't date, didn't chase healing through someone else's body. I read more, ran farther, started laughing again, not the polite kind, the real kind, from the gut. And every so often someone would ask about her. I'd just say, we lost track of each other. Because that's the truth, she kept climbing. I stepped off the ladder and now I live without the noise, without the performance, without the need to prove anything. And the echoes, they stopped. Because peace doesn't repeat itself, it just stays. I walked past her last week, downtown, coffee in hand, suit sharper than it used to be, eyes tired but polished, like everything else she still wore. She didn't see me, or maybe she did, but if she recognized the man I became, she didn't show it. She was with someone, new, younger, confident, already smirking like he'd figured life out. He held her hand like it meant something. Then she smiled like it still did. And me? I didn't feel anger, didn't feel loss. I felt something else entirely. Distance. The kind that only forms when you've climbed out of something deep and look back without the weight. Because I remember what those first smiles looked like, what the performances felt like, what it cost me to believe in them. But I'm not that man anymore. And she's still climbing, still smiling, still pretending the rungs beneath her aren't made of glass. Eventually, one will crack. Not because someone pulls it out, but because that's what happens when you build a life out of surfaces. And when she falls again, it won't be my story. It'll be hers. And I'll already be too far above it to hear the sound. Thanks for watching. Like, share, and let's hear what you'd have done in this situation. Until next time, take care.